the one piece of career advice you wish someone had given to you when you were starting out?
So I guess I started out as a software developer from academia, so I did a PhD. And I think I don't wish anyone had given me any advice, because I think you make your own mistakes, right? And you learn from them. But having said that, I think if I was able to look back and tell myself, I wouldn't listen, but I'd want to consider the whole picture. So particularly in software, and I see this a lot, I think developers, and I certainly did, have a tendency to focus on, one, their own particular bit and nothing else. But two, you really get bogged down on the detail of something exciting, some really cool bit of code you're writing, and you don't want to let it go, and you can over-engineer it. And the problem with that is you end up spending a huge amount of time for no benefit. So it's considering the whole picture. It's like, as well as just considering the bit of development you're doing, think about who's going to use your bit of software. If it's got an interface to it, then how's it going to be used? There's no point in you developing this really cool widget that sits in the top left corner that no one is ever going to click on. It just means you can get more done, you enjoy things more, and ultimately you're going to interact with your business better. And I certainly benefited from the change from software developer to getting involved with product owning and little bits of project management, and obviously where I am now. And I think knowing all of those things a bit sooner might not have accelerated that journey, but would have prepared me better for it.
Can you share a pivotal moment in your career journey that made a significant impact?
Yeah, so, well, it's kind of difficult to pin it down to a specific event.
Can imagine.
But 7 or 8 years ago, I mean, it is a specific event, but there wasn't a trigger. That's sort of what I mean. About 7 or 8 years ago, had a not particularly a health problem, but I realised that I wasn't as healthy as I could have been. And actually, that realisation sort of triggered a set of events in my life that not just personally actually, but really affected my work in a really positive way. So up until that point, I think it's really easy to get yourself confined and penned into a corner, and particularly if you're working at a bigger company, it's easy to hide and go and accept that your role is just, over there, just dealing with that one thing. And maybe that's come from, you having an idea that's not listened to. And instead of taking that feedback and thinking, why wasn't I listened to? You can take it the wrong way and go into your shell. But all of this change sort of made me realize that I did want to progress. I did have more to offer. And that, just becoming more healthy gave me a lot of self-belief and inner confidence to go and have that conversation. I've got this idea, you've knocked me back, but actually I think I'm right, let's explore it. And all of that, like I said, it sort of cascaded from there. And I went from, where I was, promoted a couple of times, and now changed company, lots of personal life changes as well, and everything has worked out really well from there. But it's that one sort of change in lifestyle really woke me up.
Makes a big difference.
Made a big difference.
And in terms of approaching challenges and setbacks in your professional life, what's your go-to strategy for overcoming them?
I don't know what the right answer is here, because some people do have a genuine strategy, and I don't know if what I've got is a strategy or if it's just common sense. But I think the one thing I would say, setbacks and challenges to me are exactly the same thing. They're both challenges. I don't really think that you have a setback. And what I don't know is if my thoughts on this have changed in relation to the previous answer, but that's certainly the way I think now, is that anything that happens, whether it's in personal life or at work, whether it's a project that you think is going to be delivered on time and it doesn't because something else happened, it's a challenge. You've got to go, and the steps to sort of resolve it are quite simple, I think, really. You've just got to go back and look at either A, was it completely out of your control? Did COVID happen or something like that? B, was it in your control? Was there something you did that was wrong? At which point, there's a life rule that I think most people live by, which is if you make a mistake, don't make it again. Learn from it. And it's exactly those sort of things. So if you have a challenge, actually you've got to go back, work out why the challenge occurred, and just make sure that you can work around it. Or if you're really forceful, plow through it next time. Actually just don't accept it, and unless there's nothing you could have done about it, at which point I think you've got to hold your hands up and say, well, I did everything I could. But if you could have changed a couple of things, then I think going back, understanding those, and just I think it's all, you're only human, aren't you? Everyone makes mistakes. It's just making sure you deal with them in the right way, isn't it? Well, exactly. And I'll be the first to admit I've made countless mistakes, and as have we all. I think I probably make fewer mistakes now, and it's not because you're just better at not making mistakes. It's just because you've made that many mistakes that before you make them, you're able to say, oh, hang on, I've done that before, I won't do that again. And it just comes with experience. That, I'm bound to make plenty of mistakes, but I try and avoid making the ones I've already made.